I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Hello. Sorry, man. We're just having a little problems, man. We got a storm going on here, man. So my intro might have been a little shaky coming on. They ain't got really too much. We want to just come on. I want to make sure I stay consistent. I hadn't talked to y'all people in out there in a minute. Want to get out there and see what's going on with us in Cowboy land. I put out a show today, and if you see what my topic is, you'll be amazed with the comments I usually get when I say, "Hey, teams that sweat more in peace, bleed less in war." It's crazy about what we are getting, what we are getting into our Cowboy land, man. We getting a lot of crazy talk within our land, man. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. I know somebody talked about the Colin Cowherd. He just like he's on a mission to douse out any hopes that the Cowboys have a good team. He can't stand. He thinks Schottenheimer's going to be fired. He thinks Michael Parsons is not worth the money. He's already talked about Dak is not worth the money. He talks like we're a team that's really don't have anything that we're that bad. And I can understand where that's coming from. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it at all. But I can understand where it comes from. And that what leads me into my topic that I want to talk to you about a few minutes. And this is not really going to get a lot of stuff. I hope I'm just appealing to the senses of a lot of people, man. I hope for some people come in the room because a lot of my cohorts in content, everybody's taking a break. Everybody's really on that vacation tip because everybody's waiting on training camp, waiting on some fresh stories to come. The NFL is kind of in a point where now it's a bunch of innuendo news, not nothing dominant, not nothing that you can rest on. Everybody's just preparing and saying to get together for that next phase that comes in, which is the training camp phase. And when the things really start to be put together and teams start to really hone into their stuff and their cultures that they're building, because like I always said, training camp is still where you still build your culture. Training camp is where you should build your stress levels. Training camp is where you find out about your teammates. Training camp is what you find out about your team. Every team is different every year. There is no team that carry over from the previous. Yeah, you got things that carry over, but everything starts over. I mean, it's almost like me. I work in accounting, and the year-end income statement starts over at the end of the new year. All the other income and expenses are gone. And then you start back over for one. Now, this is not like a balance sheet where things start over from the beginning. It's like like an income statement. It starts all over from the beginning one, and we start all over And this coming year is a brand new year with a brand new coach. We got a lot of new stuff with this. Um, with a coach coming in for the first year, I think this was a very ideal time for him to come in. He's dealing with a young team, but still somewhat of a veteran team. We're young in age, but we have a veteran team because we got a lot of pieces that have been here for more maybe 1 or 2 years. Um, you're no longer call a young player after you get finished 1 year in the NFL. Now, 2 years, you're no longer a young player. You are a veteran. Um, that's why I get sometimes we get our players we as out there in the cowboy land, we like, oh man, we need a veteran. We need a veteran here, a veteran there, but we have a guy that's been here 2, 3 years. They're considered veterans. And if you're on this team on the NFL roster and you've been getting playing time or a good, no, not maybe not extensive, but good playing time, and you're in your third year, you are a true vet. There is no looking at you as a person that is a rookie or a young player. You are a true vet then. So this team has got a lot of those type of players. This team has should have some chemistry to be built. But yes, we're in that new building of a culture. And as I remember, I told you about building a culture. We in the stages. There's 5 stages, and yes, we're in the energy stage. Yeah, the energy stage is still there. That's the energy and excitement stage, and then now we're in the adjustment period. So there is some adjustment going on. An adjustment stage is going on with our team, and that's okay. That's what you want to have. You want to have a adjustment period there, where you have an adjustment stage where everybody is adjusting to what's going on and how things are going to be run differently under this new regime of Schottenheimer. So that's a very good thing. So, um, but going back to what my statement was, um, I know there's a lot of content creators and a lot of people out there want think that players at this particular point in time we got to get another player. We sometimes some of them don't think that we have enough players for Schottenheimer. We need to stack the deck. But I'm just gonna be honest with you. One of the main things that's been Achilles heel of the Cowboys in recent history, recent times, and may have been a problem with the Cowboys dating back even farther than that, is that when the Cowboys was at their best, nobody outworked them. When the Cowboys was at their best, nobody outworked them. Even when we think about when they won their last Super Bowl with Jimmy with Barry Switzer, they stopped outworking people, and they barely made it to the finish line that year that they won their last championship. If you watch the documentary they have of the America's Game, and they talking to the players about going through that season, and they were leaking oil, but they won that game based off their experience. A lot of people want to say, man, Dion was the real Dion. You got to think about it, Dion missed a lot of games that year, and I believe if you think about it, we lost the game in the year before. It's because we had our offensive lineman was hurt up. I think we had a true offensive line that year when we went to San Francisco and lost, and Troy Aikman don't throw 3 interceptions in the first half. We possibly win that game, and we possibly go on to win our third Super Bowl in a row. I think the getting the Dion again. I'm not discrediting Dion. I think getting Dion was more of it helped the publicity and the morale, but we had a championship football team before Dion even got here. You got to think about it. We went into that championship game the year before with 2 of our offensive linemen down, and then we turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. 3 interceptions and got down 21-0. From that point on, we outscored San Francisco. And then some couple calls down in the stretch, but again, I think, and we didn't have home field advantage because we had some hiccups during the season. But I don't think Dion was the turning point for us to go. Yeah, we had a championship football team. He didn't make us a championship football team. I heard somebody talking about, well, that showed us when we was did things, made moves to win championships. I kind of agree with that, but then in somewhere I disagree with that. I think we were a championship type team already. I think we was a very championship type team. And I hear people say, well, and I hear people, listen, man, you got enough one text in this team to stop the run. If listen, man, I'm gonna say this again, I'm gonna say this over and over. If you look at our run game, our run defense, one text might be 20% of the problem. We had a problem totally all across the board. When we had Hankins, we had the same problem. When we had it, we had the same problem. We played better. Listen, if you go back to my show when I talked about, and this is not petting Dan Quinn, but I go back to my show when I talked about this. In 2021, Dan Quinn's first year, coming off of historically one of the worst defenses in the history of defenses. We came and went from being almost last in the NFL to a top 10 defense. And that's the year we went to play against San Francisco, and we held a running game in check in Dallas. Do you remember that? We did that with a defensive line. When you talk about one text, that wasn't even nowhere close to the defensive line we got now. Why? Why did that happen? Because we were more dedicated as a unit to stopping the run. Somewhere down the line, we got to a point, and this is where I want to make sure that we understand this. When we keep harping about a one tech, and we keep harping about a veteran here, that a veteran, if you bring one tech in here, he's going to play about 10 plays. At the most 15. Yeah. He's not going to play no 40, 50 plays. And you talking about, and what that does is, and it goes back to my statement of my opening statement about this video, those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. If we continue to talk about that, we are giving a pass of our safeties, our linebackers, our defensive ends, our 3-tech, our cornerbacks, all to say, hey, the run game is all on the 1-tech. And if you know anything about football, you learn from day one, it takes 11 guys to be a good run defensive team. It don't take, you can have all the best run techs in the world. If the rest of your guys are not dedicated to physically stop the run and do their job, it ain't gonna work. I hate to go back to Philadelphia. I go back to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, the Eagles. The Eagles had the same one techs and defensive line 2 years ago. And at the end of the season, people run the ball on like at will. The exact same people. They come back this year with a different defensive coordinator, and they almost number one stopping the run. Tell me how that happened. Did they change personnel, or did they change mentality? I look at a team like Green Bay. If you look at Green Bay, for the last 4 years, they've been in the top 5 or top 10 in run defense. Tell me who their one tech is. Tell me how big he is. Because see, when we keep saying that, we build an excuse for the rest of the team to say, hey, man, well, we don't have no one tech. Listen, if I got a dominant 3 tech, I got 2 dominant linebackers, I got 2 dominant defensive ends to stop the run. Damn it, I don't need a one tech to stop the run. Only thing I need him to do is be serviceable. He don't have to be an all-star. That's why I keep telling people when they talk about offensive line play. Everybody think you need everybody on the offensive line to be all world. No. The Great Wall didn't have Hall of Famers across the board. They had a couple of guys, I think Tournay and Eric Williams should be in the Hall of Fame. Nate Newton on the cusp. Their centers was okay. The other guard kept on changing out. But together, they made a thing that they making documentaries about. Individually, there's number probably one Hall of Fame on there. Matter of fact, it might not never, when it called said and done, none of them might make the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that we if you get a one tech here with this defense is going to stress they're playing your threes and your 3 techs. You're going to get the guys on the field at the same time. You get a veteran one tech, and I'm just being honest. He may get, if Mozzie play well, he may get 5 plays, 6 plays a game. And if I was attacking the Dallas Cowboys defense, I ain't going to attack him up the middle because ain't nobody attacking us up the middle. I'm going to attack the perimeter and off tackle. And that's not no saying about pinpointed to a defensive end. I can tell you this, man. As a defensive coordinator, you can never go into a thing and say, "Hey, we're gonna stop the run, and it's gonna be if I get this guy, we're gonna be able to stop the run." That's not gonna happen, man. It has to be a dedication type thing of all 11 guys to stop the run. Denver last year was one of the best teams in the league in stopping the run. Denver did that, and they played 2 guys that was rookies at one tech. So, like I said, man, when we look at our success at one tech, and we say why it takes 2 or 3 years, it could be 2 or 3 things. The why it takes 2 or 3 years for us to get a one tech to get with. It could be 2 or 3 things. It could be one that's just how the player developed, which Mozzie, that's how he developed in college. Every year he got better. 2, the guys have been coaching, our defensive line coaches, our defensive tackle coaches, might have been very bad at getting our guys to play better. Nobody thought about that. Or 3, the style of play that you play does not make it conducive for a one tech to really flourish or get better or be able to have success in your defense. You say, well, Coach, what you mean by that? We're a finesse football team. And if you're a finesse football team, when do your team and your one techs really get an opportunity to get better and physically with each other. See, run defense is like a coordination of when they talk about the front seven, it's like it's like an orchestra. Everybody has to move. Everybody has to be where they're supposed to be. Like in an orchestra, every note has to be where it's supposed to be at the time it needs to be. One person that doesn't be at on their spot, one person that's being trusted to be at a spot and they're not there, can cause 9 other guys to look bad because the run gets 8, 9, 10 yards. So when I say we have to put the emphasis of stopping the run on all 11, there is no guys in this defense. If you think about, oh, he's a run guy, oh, he's the pass guy, he rushes the pass, he's a run guy. If your defense is like that, I'm going to guarantee you that your defense may have some good numbers, but when they get down to the nitty gritty against the better teams, they're going to get blown up. Because the better teams are going to stress that you do it all, not just one thing. And that goes back to what I'm saying about those who sweat more in peace. I want this Cowboy team to be humble enough to know that the main problem has been that we hadn't been humble enough to work hard enough to get what we want. Because long before, nobody outworked us. When you talk about the two things that everybody out there, I know we got people in the comment land out there. When you talk about two things that we have been talking about, and we talked about this, we got two things that we're talking about. We're talking about stopping the run and being able to run the football. Let me tell you something. I said this on another show, and I'm going to say it again. You're not going to get better at those two things, but not getting in the mud and working. If you think you're going to go and do a glorified 7-on-7 every day and practice passing the ball and talk about it and get somebody in here, listen, you could get a one tech in here. If he doesn't work, y'all don't put that one tech or that team, that defensive line through stress where you have to learn and have to do it on in live action of being where you're supposed to be and trusting each other, it ain't going to look good. You may have a flash here and there. You had a flash with Levon Joseph every once in a while. You had a flash, but then if you really watch film on it, it was times most times he was old and he would get blown off the ball. And if he couldn't blow off the ball, he couldn't get off the block and and get to where you need to go. But we have a flash out there. He said, oh man, he done so great. No. Continuity and want to is the only thing we're going to make a stop run. Until our defense get in their mind that we're going to stop run, when people stop run, then that's when we're going to stop it. Because if you look at our defense, everybody didn't run against us. We had times when we stopped running. That's what shows me that there is a disconnect. What I'm saying is when our want to is there, we there. When our want to is our will is broken, we're not. That's a part about being mentally tough. And everybody talking about the one tech. Know who have to spearhead this stopping of the run? For people out there in the comment land, who has to spearhead us stopping the run? So people out there in the comment land, tell me in the chat who has to spearhead this defense stopping the run? Who has to spearhead and put the mentality of stopping the run in the minds of this defense? Who has to lead that charge? Know who has to lead that charge? First, your defense coordinator. and then the two highest paid players on your defense, which will be Osa and Michael Parsons. And if this team doesn't stop the run, I'm looking at three people that did, and I'm not blaming it on three people. I'm looking at three people that did not get their team united enough to say together nobody's gonna run on us. Well, nobody's gonna make a living running off us. And the three people I'm gonna look at is I'm gonna look at the defense coordinator, and I'm gonna look at Michael Parsons, and I'm gonna look at Osa. See, that's what leadership does. See, people think leadership is, you know, people think leadership, we think the one text we got here are just that god awful. Mozzie and the guys that Solomon Thompson, the other guy that we got picked up, they just that god awful. They just so horrible. And they so horrible that we need to get another person. That they just that horrible. But I say this. What are your people, your leaders on this defense saying when people run on you? See, when I came up when I played, or when I coached, we had guys on our team to say, man, nah, it ain't acceptable for nobody to run against us. And they meant that. And guess what? It flowed through everybody. There wasn't no somebody saying, well, get somebody else. We had guys that played defense end that if a team ran against us, the next time they ran the ball against the defense end, that defense end was going to blow the play up and make the play in the backfield. Why? Because they're sending a message to the rest of your teammates that this is what we're going to do, and nobody is running against us. Yeah, that's how you send a message. Did we see that? The only person that used to send that type of message was DeMarcus Lawrence. Now we think about it, last year, DeMarcus didn't play as much. That hurt our run game. But he carried a mentality about stopping the run. And I hear people say, well, you know, Micah, he getting double to you, he's undersized. Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence about the same size. Listen, I'm telling you what I know from inside information. DeMarcus Lawrence only played about 245 pounds, 250 at the most. He getting double team on runs and whatever. And I'm not saying that Micah's playing bad. This ain't no discredit of Micah. But Micah has to be the starter of just saying we're not gonna get the ball run on us. Not the starter of, well, I'm gonna get sacks. See, this is when you get to be in the leadership role, you start making the money. This is where you have to say, hey, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna build the prestige in our defense. There's certain things ain't gonna happen to us. And I'm gonna dominate from the front. So I'm not giving them an excuse. I understand people talking about they want a one tech. No, I don't care nothing about the one tech. Get better with y'all at. Because I can see a team that ain't gotta have no big. They can stop the run. Listen, man. The Cowboys before, when they were dominant, had one of the smallest defenses in the league. Tony Casillas was smaller than Leon Lett. Tony Casillas was smaller than Russell Maryland. That was in the era when they was power running the ball harder than they power running now. And Tony Casillas was the best run stopper on our defensive line. You say, well, how was that, coach? It's because that's what his will was. He knew how to play the run. So that's what I'm asking our team. That's what I'm asking our team to be dominant and stopping the run, man. I'm asking our team to have a will to stop the run. And that's all in mentality. You know, y'all may not think it, but there's no way you're going to get better at stopping the run but this work. There's no way you're going to learn to run the ball without work. The reason why our run game is suffer because we don't work hard enough on it. The reason why our run defense don't suffer is because we don't work hard enough on it. And there's coaches in this league can tell you, and the ones that get caught up in this thing about, oh well, no, well, this be exciting. They're the ones that are not winning. I guarantee if Andy Reid goes back to three, Andy Reid had three, Andy Reid had 5 Super Bowl appearances. Well, 6, but if you talk about the ones in Philadelphia. And every one that he went into those Super Bowl appearances, even the one with Philadelphia, and he went in there and abandoned the run game and act like he didn't want to run the game, he lost. Every Super Bowl, even the ones he went into that he stayed committed to the run game, not saying that he listen, not saying he was just running around, but he stayed committed to a physical presence in the game, they don't win. I remember the 2 years ago when they beat Philadelphia, they were down 10 points coming in the second half, and he came out the second half and ran the ball 7 straight times and had a 12-play drive where they ran the ball. No, a 12-play drive, they ran the ball 7 times. No, 8 times and threw the ball 4. Scored a touchdown, and they came back won that game. They committed to a physical presence down 10 points. The Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl, he only had about 8 carries in the whole game. They only ran the ball in the first half 4 times. And guess what? They got an L. Same thing against Tampa Bay. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball over 50 sometimes against Tampa Bay. They didn't run the ball. The Tampa Bay was giving them the run. What they did is say, hey, get one dimension, we're going to hunt the quarterback down. And that's what they did. And they felt that they could slow him down in the secondary and hunt the quarterback down. Same thing, didn't be dedicated to run the ball, didn't dedicate himself to a physical presence, and he lost the Super Bowl. And since we are not being dedicated to a physical presence, our defense lacks in their physical presence of stopping the run. That's why I say in my statement of what this is all about. This is about those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. We're going to get to the Super Bowl, but we got to outwork everybody. It ain't going to be given to us. There ain't nobody we can sign right now. There's going to be no magic potion. It's going to be that we're going to outwork everybody in our division first, then our conference, and then this league. And we're going to do it humble and nasty. If Shanahan want to get this team where he wants to get it, he got to instill a hard-working attitude. You can let them be, they can be celebrities. But when they come across them that's in that star, when they go to Oxnard, he got to make it a grind. And he cannot worry about injuries. He can't, I'm taking it easy because we don't want nobody to get hurt. That's it. If you do not get the grind out of this team, you're going to always be in the trouble because we're in an environment that is built to be soft. I heard somebody on Twitter talking about the Cowboy fans at the game, how laid back our Cowboy fans at the game. We're not rabid fans. See? Because we don't bring a culture to make our fans rabid. We don't bring a culture to make our fans buy into it. See, our fans buy. Listen, your head coach brings a culture, brings a spirit that your coaches already fall into. Then your team falls into it, and then that spirit falls into your fan base. But if your fan base got your team got this culture about let's be passive. Let's try to be. Let's worry about how many receivers we got. Let's worry about how many 40 burgers we gonna put up. Let's worry about if George Pickett's gonna get 1,500 yards and CeeDee Lamb gonna get. Let's worry about if the running backs only can run for 75 yards on one play. Let's worry about all those type things. Let's worry about what our players are getting paid. Now, it's either highest paid or how many times Dak threw the ball. If we worry about those type things, which are what we call soft, non-existent things, and not the grind, guess what our fans gonna be? Hollywood. And they're gonna sit back to wait on the big play. But there's some fans out there get excited because they get a first down. There's some fans out there excited because we out there knocking people over and the running back running over people and we get the first down. They say first down, they get excited. No, we don't get excited for that. We're excited for the touchdown. We're excited. We get upset when we don't even win by 40 points. We think that everything should be a 40 burger. And when it don't be a 40 burger, we consider that wrong, or we start finding ways that our team needs to get somebody else. We start even throwing people off the boat because we say, well, man, we need other guys because they ain't doing a good enough job. That's what I'm talking about, those who sweat more in peace, bleed in war. We're going to have to sweat. Schottenheimer going to have to find out who's in it to win and who's here in it for the fame. You want to get better stopping the run? Start in training camp. You worry about your defensive tackles being better? If you think you got to, listen, we went in the draft. Everybody said that we went in the draft and got what? We got one of the probably the most physical center guard in the league. If we got the most physical guard, two guards in the center in the league, why is our defense lacking in run defense? Tell me how that happens. Tell me how that happens. How do we lack in run defense if we got two of the best guards and centers in the league? How did that happen? That shouldn't happen. The only reason that happens is you're not working hard enough. So if we're going to put in the work, we can be good. We can be a very good football team. If we're not going to put in the work, listen. I'm waiting on one of our players to come out and say, "Hey, damn, on one check, we got to get better at the defense. All of us got to get better." Have we heard that before? You can get the best one check in the league right now and put them on this team. If everybody don't come with the mentality of stopping the run, they're still going to run on you. Stopping the run is one of the most cohesive things that you do in defense. Running the ball is one of the most cohesive things you do in offense. Those things take way more teamwork and team stuff than passing the ball or playing pass defense. I could go out there and say, "Hey, we're gonna play man to man," and everybody's gonna guard their man. But in run defense, it takes everybody doing their job and being where they're supposed to be to get the job done. It takes people who are going to sacrifice themselves for somebody else to get the job done. There's going to be people. There's going to be linebackers and safeties that's going to fill a hole to push the running back into another guy because they say this guy is going to beat his block. In running the ball, there's going to be 10 guys that's got to make blocks, cut off blocks. There's guys that are going to be set up blocks. There's going to be combo scoops. There's going to be people get down the field that's going to try to cut the angle off the defenders because the running back going to read that and cut back. There's a lot that goes in to making a successful run and a successful run defense. But it takes everybody. And it takes everybody to be dedicated to do that. I always talk about why Saquon Barkley got so many big runs this year. Know why he got big runs? Because everybody on that, listen, you don't get big long runs without receivers and tight ends blocking big time downfield. You show me a team that don't have over 20-yard runs, that don't have a lot of long breakaway runs. I can show you a team that their receivers and their tight ends down the field don't block worth a damn. I.e. Cowboys. If you show me a running back that got burst and he's going down the field and he getting 50 and 60-yard runs and he getting big chunk yards, I can show you that, hey, they got receivers and receivers and tight ends that are picking people off down the field that's turning a 10-yard run into a 40. A 5-yard run into 12. Just by blocking. So, how are we going to build that mentality, folks? And it goes back to what I said when I was talking about Colin Hurd and all those people talking all this trash. They're talking this trash because they don't see something in the Cowboys. And what did they don't see in the Cowboys? Anybody know why do Colin Cowherd and all those people are discrediting the Cowboys and saying the Cowboys are this bad and we ain't going to be this, we ain't going to be that? You know what they don't see in the Cowboys? They don't see a mentally tough football team that's going to be able to grind their way to it. When people start talking bad about you for no apparent reason, they're not talking about that you don't have potential athletically. They're talking about what you got in your ticker, in your chest. They don't think when it gets tough that you're going to meet the challenge. That's what all they're talking about. They can't be talking about your talent. Because Michael Parsons, Dak Prescott numbers, CeeDee Lamb numbers, you got two offensive line. You got an offensive lineman that's probably all world. You got, listen, man, Osa number. Listen, people, listen. Individually, Bland was a former Pro Bowl. Listen here. Individually, they're not talking about if they can play or not. They're saying that the Cowboys are going to fail because they're not mentally tough. When Stephen A. Smith say they just a accident waiting to happen, he's not talking about if the players are going to fail physically. He said they're accident waiting to happen because they're going to fail mentally when it gets to the point. They're going to fail mentally, and then they're going to blame it all on Dak Prescott, and where the team going to be failing them. I ain't say Dak Prescott played great, but the team. So Schottenheimer has to get humbleness and a mental capacity to get this team over the hump. And the only way, people, is nobody can work harder than us. Whatever the league restraints are, whatever the league says that their restraints is, the Cowboys should be a toe over that line, but they should be red on the chalk. This offensive line, I don't want to see none of them get a day off. Every time they got a chance to work together, I want to see them work. Just like we say no days off, this team got to outwork, and we cannot worry about injuries. You got to be smart in certain spots, but you can't worry about injuries. Now in this game, because what is worse? What is worse? Maybe a guy getting hurt or a guy being healthy and not ready. We don't win to the playoffs with almost a healthy team and loss. We don't win the playoffs with an injured team and loss. I want to go in the playoffs with a ready team, a seasoned ready team, with whoever we got to go. A seasoned, mentally tough football team. And those who sweat more in training and preparing, gonna sweat, gonna bleed less when the war comes. This season. If we want to change something, let's change how we work. I know we talking about telling Jerry to change his. Well, let's tell Jerry. We got to get more free agents. Jerry need to go out and get more free agents. We got to go out and get more. We need to sign somebody. We need to spend some of that money. Regardless of getting them, if you're gonna bring them into an atmosphere where you ain't working, you're gonna get the same results. If we want to change something, let's go back to the point when nobody outworked us. When we used to be the blueprint of how you did things, how you train. We were the blueprint of how you train. People came to watch our training camps to find out what you need. There's some things that have been instrumented because and put in place because of the times we went through in our organization. We were always known as the flashiest team, but we worked harder than everybody. If Schottenheim want to change one thing, change how we work. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because when you talk about giving it out of the mud or actually working hard to get something and putting in effort to get something, nobody want to hear about that. Everybody waiting for the magic potion, the magic guy, the one pickup we can make, the one little thing, the magic potion that we can be. Everybody want to say, "Oh, let's start off at the playoffs." Some of us want to start off at the Super Bowl. Some of our fans want to start off at the Super Bowl, up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So they ain't got to worry about no work, ain't got to worry about going through that. It's already guaranteed that we're going to win. But one thing I know about football, the greatest team sport in the history of team sports, and getting a team in any division, any good division, to go all the way to win a championship, especially in the NFL, it's going to be something the hardest thing that these collective of young men at Dallas going to do in their lives. But they can do it. They have the talent to do it. But they just can't be outworked. And if you think, as a fan, that we done outworked everybody in the recent fans, as long as you've been fans, if it's been 4 to 5 years, then you sadly mistaken. We have talked about it. But when I see a team that say week in, year out, we got a problem of running the ball and stopping the run, you know what I look at? I don't look at personnel. I'm saying, how do you work? Because what you deem important, you work on. And if you deem stopping the run and being a more effective running team, you ain't gonna get that way number one way. And guess what? People in the Oxnard ain't gonna like to see it. It ain't gonna be pretty for everybody to see. But you gotta put more emphasis on winning. Establishing something that why are the people talking about the Cowboys? Because they're not talking about because of our talent. They're talking about because they feel that we don't have the mental fortitude to finish the job. And that narrative, Schottenheimer, you got to change that narrative. And the only way you're going to change that narrative is that you got to make that sure that your leaders know on that team, and you got to challenge your leaders, but you got to be respected and trusted, but not liked and loved. Now, I know I'm saying some stuff that may not give me no subscribers. Hopefully, we're going to look back at this same show, and I can pull this show up at the end of the season and say, hey, remember I talked about this. Hopefully, we might pull this thing up. We may have one of the coaches might tell us this in training camp when he feel like thing going. He might talk about the effort and how we got to get there is by working. And I maybe to pull this back up and say, hey, that's what Coach Marv has said. But if we want to be a better run defense, change our mentality to defense. And the team and the people who start that mentality of what this defense is going to take and how it's going to be in the mentality of it is your defense coordinator, Michael Parsons, and Osa. Because teams run on you. If somebody say this team is soft defensively, the only people they can look at is themselves. Because they allowed it. Got to lead from the front. Well, somebody say lead from the front. My word is dominate from the front. I always say it again. I'm going to say it again. From day one, if you're a big-time defensive end in this league and you the dog, and this ain't no sham on you, this ain't no talking bad. From day one in training camp, I tell Jake Ferguson, all the tight ends, if you try to block me, I'm gonna dominate you. I'm gonna put you into the dirt. If any run scheme over there y'all got and y'all gonna block me with the tight end, y'all better get another person. Defense ends, hey, if I'm Mike, I'll make a statement to everybody. You either gonna block me with a tackle or a guard, or you ain't gonna block me. I'm gonna set the edge and make the tackle. Yeah. From day one. Then Sam Williams know what his job is then. Then Dante Fowler know what he needs to do. Then Neal and Neat know what they need to do. Everybody else, even your one text and your three text, then they understand how they supposed to play the run. Olsen should come out and say, hey, you double team the one, the three tech, if you double team my one tech with a blow, I'm going to dominate the guy in front of me and he's not going to block me. You better double team me and leave him alone. But if you double team the one tech, I'm going to kill you. Now, I'm going to say that day one, that's Booker, that's Smith, or whatever from day one. Not saying that going to happen, but that's the mentality that the leaders got to carry on. They got to say in their mind that, hey, man, nobody's going to make a living running the ball on us. Because when they say they can run the ball on us, they're saying that we're soft. And no one person can change your mentality of being soft. That's a group effort. Again, those who sweat more in peace, they bleed less in war. Are we willing to sweat? Or we want to take pictures? Or we want to talk about what player we need? Or we want to talk about, oh, well, we got to get another guy. Or we need to get another guy. When are we going to stop putting excuses on somebody? Someone? Oh, Jerry. When is this team going to buckle up and say all these people are doubting us because they doubt our mental toughness to get the job done? And how you build mental toughness? Only way I know about that is putting it through stress. And Schottenheimer have to put pressure on this team. Because pressure is going to do two things. Pressure either going to bust these pipes or it's going to make diamonds. Without the pressure, you don't know what you got. And what you got going to show up in the biggest moments. I've been on here for an hour, people. I appreciate everybody in the chat. When I try to look at the chat, my computer start freezing up on me, man. But again, man, Tyrone Church is in here, man. Tyrone Church, I appreciate you, man. And Church, if you got you, man, go back to my video, man. I know you've been following. Go back to my video, and I said, I'm talking about the same thing, man. Go back to my video that I put out weeks ago about the run game, stopping the run game. Listen, man, this is all about a mentality thing, man. We have a team that, okay, they say they like getting after the passer. Do we see the same vigor from our defense getting after the passer than stopping the run? We don't. And tackles for loss and tackles at the line of scrimmage are just as big as plays than getting sacks. And I'm stop using this excuse about we need a one tech and giving like these guys an excuse to say, well, we don't get the one tech, we don't stop the run. That's because ownership didn't give us one tech. That's a bunch of bullshit. And I know I might be messing up my money when I say that. I'm sorry. But that's BS. Give me the best run defensive ends. Give me the best three tech run stoppers. Give me the best safety run stoppers. You mean tell me if I got all that, you think I'm going to have the one tech going to prove to me that I can't stop the run? But what I'm doing is I'm asking to get better one tech, but I'm not asking the rest of my guys to get better. Change the philosophy. And when teams out there, I'm finishing up, we always like to recap. When people out there talking about us, when you got a Colin Cowherd and all these other people out here running their mouths about the Cowboys and telling about the Cowboys this and about the Cowboys going to be that bad and the Cowboys going to be this bad, they're not talking about the talent on our team. They're calling us soft mentally. They say that you're going to look good. You got all the good stuff right now, but you're going to blow up when the time comes. You're going to blow up across the board because they don't believe in you mentally. Stephen A. Smith said it the best. A train waiting to happen. That's all the saying is. It ain't going to be about the physical thing. We're going to find a way to get off focus and blow up. That's why I say in my 5 building blocks of a culture, a new culture. First was physicality. What physicality do? It builds your mental, your mental. You put teams to stress. You beating on guys, not getting beat on. It makes you more confident because there's gonna be some times you're gonna lose some battles. But you got to have you got to have a physical presence. 2, discipline. You got to maybe be disciplined enough that gets you through the tough spots because you know how to get back to what you do and how you're supposed to do things. And then the mental tough part come in. Michael Irvin went to training camp. He kept talking about mental toughness. He kept talking about he said, ain't going to be about the talent. He said that. Listen, you talking about a playmaker. He understands everybody on the Cowboy team in his glory years, everybody wasn't all pros. But the collection of the parts with the same mentality made them unbeatable. And I'm going to say it again. Those who sweat more in peace will bleed less in war. Are we willing to sweat? Are we willing to get that sweat equity? Are we willing to go into training camp and dedicate ourselves in working on the run game? Because working on the run game as an offense is also going to help our defense work on it. Or we're going to go in there and play 7-on-7 and do walkthrough when it comes to the run game. And then we're going to get in the playoff. And then last year, we get in the preseason game where we finally go live. And guess what McCarthy do then? He have our quarterbacks throwing the ball 30 times in the playoff game. When you going to work on the run game then? We get to the season, then we're going to start trying to work on where. That way it take a whole half a season before our run game get going. Tell me if I'm wrong. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong with that. And while you're not working on the run game, guess who else is suffering? Your defense. And y'all thinking I'm saying, well, the run game, running. No. It's the physical presence that brings it to the table. If you're the dominant team and you're winning the physical battle, you can do anything else you want to do. Anybody seen a pack of dogs? Why the alpha dog is so bad? Because the alpha dog is the most physical. He got the mentality where he's already got a physical dominance over everybody else. So now he already got the upper hand. So when you go into a game, you got to prove who's the alpha in the game. It's an alpha and a beta in every game. And how you prove that? Early on. I played offensive line. I'm a coach offensive line. I'm a coach defensive line. I can tell you right now, if you don't get control of a great defensive lineman early on in the game with double teams or running right at him with double teams, paying more attention to him and frustration early, if you don't frustrate him early and you allow him to get off early, he's going to dominate you the whole game. Because he's already an alpha, but then he's going to get that alpha spirit in him, and it's going to be hard to block him the rest of the game. Man, I'm getting y'all nuggets, man. Y'all ain't going to get from nobody else, man. Y'all need to like, comment, subscribe. Y'all need to send this. Y'all need to send this out. Y'all need to, I need some people to start sharing. I need church. I need you to share. I need some of these other people to share with their comments. Say, hey, man, coach getting y'all some stuff that this ain't going to sound like the classic, oh, well, rah, rah, roof. No, it ain't. It's the truth. There's an alpha and a beta in every football game. And I used to tell my guys, who you gonna find out early on, show them that we the alpha. And they the beta. And let's let it play out after that. Now you go in there and go in there and shy away at the beginning and let them get the alpha mentality. It's gonna be a hard way to go. And that's what I said our offense did. We shied away from being a physical because soon we got some resistance, we backed off. We had like we supposed to run the ball. We run the ball the game. Listen, I said this in the last thing. We win the playoff game. In the playoff games that McCarthy has been here, we have averaged run the ball less than 20 times. Our running backs have had less than 20 carries in just about all of them. With two backs. That shows that in the playoffs, where you got to be more dedicated to running the ball to be balanced and have a physical presence, we didn't do it. And most of those games been close games. Green Bay ran the ball against us. I think Jones had his first 5 or 6 carries when he was getting like 2 yards carry. We were stuffing the run. But guess what they did? They continued to keep on going. Yeah. Why did they do that? Check out my video when I talk about our culture and how people looked at us. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to go over this right quick, and I'm going to tell you this. When McCarthy era here, if I was a scout report, and I want y'all to listen to this, because this is what coaches do. When coaches come in, you have a new game, new team you're playing, the coach gives a general outlook of the team that we're about to come up and play to his coaching staff, because we're starting to set up about what we're going to do for the week against the next team, right? So he gives a general overview. And in that general overview, he touches upon my 5 building blocks of a culture. And he doesn't talk about it directly, but it may go something like this when he was talking about the Cowboys, how I perceive the Cowboys being for the last 5 years. And let me give you an example. I'm coming into the meeting. I'm talking to my coaches. I'm saying, hey, man, we got the Cowboys this week, man. Tough team, man. I'm looking at them. They're coming at, they're tough. They're a tough team. They got a good record. They got some very good players. We can get after them. We get after them. We could probably get the best of them and make them shy away from things. Their run game, they get it going, they can hurt us, but I think if we stay start on that early, we can make them get away from it. And we got to be persistent in our run game, because they'll get to a point in time where they start giving up big plays on the run game, because they're not really disciplined in staying in their gap integrity, and they'll be trying to chase the football. If you look at their, how they play hard, but they can give us, we stay sound, they'll give us some big time penalties if we make them work. Let's keep them away from big plays and let's look to get big plays against them, because I think sometimes they break down. Their coaching sometimes will put them in bad situations with them trying to be a little too aggressive sometimes, and I think we get them in that point, we probably can attack them and take over because they've been a little too aggressive. Sometimes they drop their head. If we get on top of them early, they may drop their head and we'll be able to do anything we want to do. But if they get up on us, they may let us back in because they get a little sloppy. Talent-wise, they got some very good talent on that team. Talent-wise, they really got talent, but I don't know how well they work, and I think we can attack them. As long as we stay in the game and make them work, they may wilt. Anybody out there that's heard what I said? Now tell me that you didn't. I wasn't spot on about the Cowboys in Mike McCarthy era. Teams talking about staying tough on them. committed to the run game. Teams that committed to the run game, we stop them early, then after a while they start getting it, and they continue. We kind of wilted. Anytime we got behind, we kind of start dropping our head and start arguing on the sideline. Our coaches would make sometimes some very questionable gambles and take us out of the flow of the game. We wasn't patient. Teams could beat us in the physical category if they stayed at us. We would flash. What did Green Bay say about us? They said we was front runners. Remember they said that? Teams only talked about our mentally makeup. And that has to change. And when in that speech, without a coach saying my 5 building blocks, my 5 building blocks of a true culture is physicality, discipline, mental toughness, coaching / leadership, and talent. That coach, I touched upon all of that because I'm talking about their mental, how they're built culturally, and how we're going to attack them because we're going to be built different. You know how I want that to be said this year? And listen, you ain't gonna Schottenheimer. You ain't gonna change people's perception with the first game. It's gonna take 6 games, 6-7 games for people to say, okay, that's who they are. Because all these teams are going in the NFL this year. You don't know who your team is until after the fifth, 6th game. Then you know what you really at, who you really are. But you know how I want the people to talk about the Cowboys? Let me give you the instance on that. Man, we playing that Dallas team this week. Very tough team, very good team. Really would get after you. If we don't come prepared, they can really dominate us and jump on us. We got to be able to stop their run game because their run game is consistent, and just stopping them early is not going to make them deter them from it. So we got to be there on top of it. And our outside linebackers, people outside, we really got to get our blocks because they really would get after us in the blocking category. And up front, we got to be able to get ground because their front 3 up there really gets after you in the double team combos. Defensively, they don't give up too much in the run game. We can try to get some things in the run game, but we're going to have to try to use the run game to try to set up, say, play action passes, but they are really jumping the run game, and they really play it tough. So we got to be a little bit smarter. We got to try to get over the top and get big plays on them. This team, if they get up on us, they keep applying the pressure. So we want to try to stay in the game early on them. We don't want them to get up ahead of us because they really can apply the pressure. And if we could get off to a good start, we have to keep the grind on this team because they are always coming. Their coaches out there is going to be sound. They're going to be aggressive in certain points, but they're going to try to control the game from the sideline. So we got to be better control on our sideline. And they're a very talented team. They're talented in areas that people don't talk about because they play so much together. That's how I want people to talk about us when they play us every week. That's not saying that they're scared. They ain't saying that they're scared of the Cowboys, but that's just saying they're not scared, but they're careful. Guess what that's going to tell the coaches? All of a sudden, the coaches is going to get my coaches ready to go to work. And they're going to pass that on to the players. But they're going to go into the game trying to get an upper hand, not already with an upper hand. Schottenheimer, that's how you got to change the culture. I just gave you 2 instances of how a coach may talk about a team. The first time I told you, that's just what I saw in the Cowboys for the last 5 years. That's the softness I saw. That's the not paying attention to detail. That's the team that, they'll get up on you, they'll win some games, and next thing you know, they'll come out lackluster. That's the team that'll stop the run for the first quarter, and then they'll let the guy run 3 or 4 40-yard runs. That's the culture of the team that we get ahead of the game and we trying to close the game out and run the ball. We can't even get a yard. That's what I saw. And that's what Schottenheimer has to change. Can he change that? I believe he can change it. I believe he can change it. But I'm going to say it again. Those who sweat more in peace going to bleed less in war. In every football game you go in, there's a beta and there's an alpha. And usually that's decided in the first quarter about who's going to be the beta and who's going to be the alpha this game. And if you want to be the dog that we say we are, every game we got to be the alpha. And the only way we're going to become the alpha and going to be ready for the physical teams we're going to play, we got to be seasoned and ready. We can't be scared of work. If we think we're going to get to a championship by some magic potion, about some guy we picked up on free agency, and we could just all of a sudden, and it's going to pop and bing because we them boys. If our team make things, because Michael Parsons getting $40 million a year, and Dak Prescott getting 60, and CeeDee Lamb getting 37, that's automatically going to make us Super Bowl champs. Well, this has been in baseball, football, basketball. Teams that have all the best, the most, rarely wins the team who paying the biggest salaries. OKC ain't got the biggest salary. They were the best team in the league. They had one of the best records in the league last year. They had the best record in the league this year, and they got the trophy, the NBA championship trophy. They're not the best, the highest paid team in the league. Denver won the championship. They won the highest paid. Listen, money doesn't equate into of goodness, of how good you are. Nobody's going to remember. As salaries goes up, people ain't going to remember who's the highest paid salary guy in 2025. What they're going to remember is how Michael Parsons started standing up and we got championships. Is that going to be because of him? They're going to remember that. We talk about champions. It's not about the ring culture. It's about the whole team. But the only way we're going to get it is we got to go back to the time that nobody outworked us. And I know that might not be the sexiest thing, and a lot of people out there ain't going to understand what I'm talking about. But the true football people who have played, has seen it, the grinding in the mud, you're going to know what I'm talking about. You ain't going to get nothing out of this game half-buttoned it. And I ain't say the other word because I already cursed too much. You ain't going to get nothing in this game by talking about it. You ain't going to get tough in this game by saying I want to be tough. You ain't going to get tough in this game by getting tough guys and not working together to be tough. If you want to win, Cowboys, change how you work. And I guarantee you got enough talent. If you want to shut these people out, stop them from talking about your mental capacity and your mental toughness, because that's all they're talking about. They ain't talking about how good your stats are. They ain't talking about the talent. They ain't nowhere in the world they talking about the talent because you got more Pro Bowlers than anybody else in the league. There ain't but one team that had as many Pro Bowlers you had in the last 5 or 6 years. They ain't talking about the talent. They feel that you ain't got the mental capacity or the toughness to finish the job. And I guarantee if y'all start playing like that and working like that, it won't be no wine and cheese crowd at the game. Everybody be on point. To put my fans out there, man, thank you for out there. I mean, I got some of my normal guys that came in here, man. Thank you for coming in and sharing with me and being people on Twitter. I mean, on X. Thank you, man. Please subscribe on X, man. The people on don't forget if you're a follower on X and you see me on X, go to my YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe on my YouTube channel, Coach Marv Real Talk. Check out my catalog of videos, man. It talks about the run game. We talk about what Michael Parsons and Dak Prescott, the changes they're going to go through. We talk about the culture. I got a video talking about the culture. I got a video talking about what our offense need to do. I got videos on all these type things, man. I got 26 videos. Maybe some of the stuff is not in the greatest form because I'm building this platform. I need some more equipment. So, if you can help, with liking, subscribing, man. I'm looking to try to get to 400 subscribers before the middle of July. If I can, I'm at 300 something, man. I never thought I'd be getting this far. If you want to support the channel in another way, you can always cash out me to and I'm gonna put my cash app on the bottom of the screen whenever I can get to it. I hope that my computer don't freeze up because my computer be acting crazy, man. I understand when people be talking about going through technical difficulties, man. But that's my cash app, man. I don't have some guys, man, that has greatly helped. I got a couple of cash apps, and what it did is help me get a platform on Riverside. You may see Riverside in the right-hand corner. It helped me get to that point and some of the other stuff that I got so I could do thumbnails. So if you feel in your heart, maybe $1, $2, whatever, all that's gonna go towards the channel, man, and this content and trying to keep this channel growing so I can get to monetize. But I appreciate every last one of you as y'all came in the chat and all that stuff, man. I appreciate this, man. J Tuck J, Jay, man, still coming in from all the way over the seas. Man, all these people, man, that's come in this chat and had conversations with each other, man. That is what it's all about, man. We're gonna build this thing together. But remember, as I always try to do is recap. We got to build the building blocks. The building blocks of a culture is we're building those building blocks. And nothing about those building blocks says soft. Physicality, the building blocks of physicality, discipline, mental toughness, coaching / leadership, and talent. And we're in the stage of this process. The excitement stage is still there, is in big time. We're in the adjustment stage, but next stage is coming. It's coming to test. And the test is we're going to test our players in training camp, but we must put them through stress. We must find out who is dedicated for the long haul. And again, people, if we want to get better at running the ball or stopping the run, there is no one way. It's only one way you're going to do that. That's work. And again, as my title says, teams that sweat more in peace going to bleed less in war. Are we going to put the work in to reap the rewards when this season comes and to be tough enough to get through that adversity? Because all the cowherds and all these other pundits out here who talking trash, they're not talking about our talent. They're talking about our mental and our heart. And that's what we got to prove on. Until next time, man, thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for talking to me. For some, have a glorious weekend. And we'll talk next time because we're going to get ready to bring 6 in here. Again, teams that sweat more in peace, bleed less in war. I'm out.